अज़ीज़ दोस्तों नमस्कार। अज़ीज़ दोस्तों, आज यहाँ पे सेंट्रल लंदन में एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही है ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट में। यूनाइटेड कश्मीर पीपल्स नेशनल पार्टी शौकत कश्मीरी साहब की पार्टी की तरफ से ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट में कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही है जम्मू कश्मीर स्टेटहुड और ब्रिटिश रोल के ऊपर। उसमें पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए मैं यहाँ पे आया हुआ हूँ और मैं आपके सामने इस कॉन्फ्रेंस की डिटेल रख रहा हूँ, जिसमें ब्रिटिश एमपीज़ भी काफ़ी स्पीचेस करेंगे और काफ़ी वेल नोन फिगर्स इसमें बात करेंगे, तो पता चले कि यहाँ पे ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट में कश्मीर के ऊपर क्या डिस्कशन हो रही है, ताकि आपके सामने चीज़ें रखी जा सकें। इट्स अ वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस, क्योंकि यूनाइटेड कश्मीर पीपल्स नेशनल पार्टी के ऊपर ज़्यादातर ये कश्मीरियों पे इल्ज़ाम होता है कि आईएसआई के एजेंट होते हैं। तो उनके बारे में ये है कि ये लोग हमेशा सिर्फ प्रो कश्मीरी बात करते हैं और कश्मीर के हवाले से अपनी एक अलग ही पॉलिसी होती है इनकी। तो ये है कि एज ए फ्री सोसाइटी यूनाइटेड कश्मीर पीपल्स नेशनल पार्टी को भी राइट होना चाहिए कि वो अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू रखें और वो क्या चाहते हैं ये चीज़ें सबके सामने रखें। तो लेट्स सी अजीज़ दोस्तों, मैं आपके सामने इस कॉन्फ्रेंस की डिटेल्स रखूँगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच अजीज़ दोस्तों फॉर ऑल योर सपोर्ट। काइंडली कीप सपोर्ट।
Everybody here today, I know people have travelled the length and the breadth of the country to be here today, and it's so important that you are all here today in this very important meeting. Before I get into the substance of what I want to talk about, firstly can I apologise for the lateness today. You will all understand Parliament has many commitments all running at the same time, and I knew that the meeting was in very good hands with my brother, friend and comrade Richard Bergen. Can I also say Richard Bergen is a huge friend of the Kashmiris. He is somebody that I work very closely with. In fact, we often get described as twins. I don't know who that's worse for. But we do work especially on issues of international injustice very closely. And I am proud to call him my friend and brother. And I can tell you this about Richard and myself: we will never ever fail to be quiet or never ever fail to raise our voices when it comes to injustices wherever they happen in the world. We in the All Party Parliamentary Group have gone from strength to strength over the last few years. When I took the role of chair, I took so with a very serious vision. And I'm proud that over that period, the strength of the All Party Parliamentary Group has grown. And we are now a cross group of MPs, which is currently over 70 members of Parliament. And that's huge in this place. It's one of the largest all-party parliamentary groups. And it is only possible to do that with support from the grassroots communities, whether that's grassroots Kashmiri communities or all people who want to stand up and challenge injustice. And we are growing momentum up and down the country where more MPs are becoming engaged, are becoming involved. But the message I give to all groups who come here, and it is absolutely right that we engage with all the groups on Kashmir here. And I always encourage all the grassroots groups to come together and work together, because at the heart of this, we are all united on one thing, that is that the birthright of the Kashmiris to self-determination isn't in the hands of anybody else, it's in the hands of So it's right and proper that we continue to build grassroots movements. And I'm delighted to see many young people here today, but we must engage further with our young people in particular to build a bigger, stronger grassroots movements, because only then will we come to bring more involvement from more MPs, because at the end, MPs will listen to their constituents. So we must continue to make sure in every constituency where we are able to influence and make the argument and put forward the case of the Kashmiris, that we are able to do that. Because I want the all-party parliamentary group on Kashmir to be stronger, to be louder, because that's the only way governments are going to listen to us. And like I said before, we all know the issues. The persecution of the Kashmiris is not unknown to anybody in this place or outside of this place. But I've made the case since 2019 that has been accelerated. Since 2019, since the revocation of Article 370 and 35A, we know that there is a clear agenda by the right-wing Modi government in particular to quash the Kashmiris. So therefore, we know that the human rights abuses that we previously saw have accelerated during that period. We know that there has been arbitrary arrests that have been accelerated during that period. We know that the political prisoner numbers have gone up during that period. But the message I send again from Parliament, and before anybody attempts to quash a self-determination movement, the more we will continue to raise our voices against injustice. So friends, I'm really grateful for all of you to be here today. But we all have a duty to continue. And the difference we can make through meetings like this, through our grassroots activism, and through our government, is we must move away from this old age argument that multiple governments of multiple stripes have had for far too long, that this is a bilateral matter between India and Pakistan. Well, again, we reaffirm through this meeting, this is not a bilateral matter. And the all-party parliamentary group will continue to make that case to our government, because we now see the rule, and I've said this in a number of meetings, we're at a stage in the world today where actually the international rules-based order itself is under threat. We see how the genocide continues in Gaza. We see how the ethnic cleansing and persecution of the Rohingya continue even today, with 1 million of them even today in the Cox's Bazar. We see the illegal war against Iran. We see all the scenarios in the world where the international rules-based order is not being followed. Well, we as Kashmiris say this, that it is time also that the issue of Kashmir must be resolved, because the issue of Kashmir cannot be left behind. Because if we want peace, if we want stability, if we want the whole region to thrive, then the central issue between two nuclear powers remains Kashmir, and that must be addressed and must be brought to the top of the agenda. Again, I am really grateful to all my friends who have come here today in this large gathering that demonstrates the level of support that the Kashmiris have and will continue to have. In particular, I know there are friends of mine from my own constituency here today. I'm grateful to them for all the personal support they provide me, but also for the work they do against injustice and in particular on Kashmir. Again, I'm grateful to Richard Bergen for again chairing this very important meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We are नहीं वो आपके सब कुछ कुछ बनवा देना मैं भी कर देना उधर में लगा रहे हैं ये तो जुल्म है कि पूरा दिन
सारे कैमरे की तरफ देखें भाई, सारे कैमरे की तरफ देखें।
फारूक साहब बोलने वाले
एक्सक्यूज मी,
Jammu and Kashmir does not belong to India or to Pakistan. It belongs to the Kashmiri people, and this is why we're here today. I want to thank my great friend and honourable member Arif East for hosting this timely conference. I want to thank Mr. Shaukat Kashmiri, President of United Kashmir People's National Party, for his very eloquent and in-depth historical framing and lesson for me in terms of what went before. And I also want to thank the wider United Kashmir People's National Party for convening this vital discussion. And the discussion is on the non-violent pursuit of peace, justice, dignity, and self-determination for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Too often in British political discourse, Kashmir is described abstractly as a geopolitical dispute between two neighbours thousands of miles away that has little importance to the United Kingdom. But for thousands of my constituents in Dewsbury and Batley, and I'm sure the many thousands, if not million plus, of constituents for many other MPs, it is something far more personal. It is where the parents of the Kashmiris living in the UK were born, where the grandparents of the people living in the UK from Kashmir were born. It is where their families live. It is a place they still call home. But as British parliamentarians, we do not just have a responsibility to our constituents who are profoundly and adversely affected by the denial of self-determination in Kashmir. We have another additional responsibility that stems from Britain's deep ties or of complicity in the very origins of the conflict. The partition of 1947 was a humanitarian catastrophe, conducted hastily and without sufficient regard for the complex lived realities on the ground that left Kashmir's political status unresolved. Driven by a desire to minimize its imperial liabilities amidst a cresting wave of decolonialism, Britain set in motion decades of instability, conflict, and suffering. The UK therefore bears not only a historical connection to the Kashmir crisis, but a continuing moral responsibility for the violence and violation of human rights that has plagued Kashmir's people since 1947. Yet for too long, successive British governments have treated Kashmir primarily as a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. It's an issue that is mentioned or remembered during every election cycle. We have blindly trusted and voted for these parties who promised to make a real difference to the lives of the people in Kashmir. And every single time, these very politicians and governments have failed all of the people of Kashmir and all of the Kashmiris living in this country. We will not accept this anymore. So this diplomatic caution overlooks the central truth. Kashmir is also and fundamentally about the rights and aspirations of its people. Today, the situation in Kashmir continues to raise serious concerns about whether their rights and aspirations are truly being respected. We have seen the steady erosion of autonomy, increased militarization, and periodic bouts of escalating violence that have become a depressing hallmark over the past 8 decades. And the situation, honourable guests, is not getting better. It is getting worse. Yesterday I attended an event to remember the victims of the Nakba in Palestine in 1948. And there are parallels between what has happened to the Palestinian people at the hands of the British and then the colonial occupier, and what has happened in Kashmir and what is happening today. The playbook of oppression, of displacement, of apartheid is being subjected, is being imposed on the people of Kashmir. And every single day that we stay silent, that we allow this to continue, is a day that the whole world becomes less safe for every single human being. So it is really, really critical and important that we do not stop raising these issues and seeking justice for the Kashmiri people and also of the people in Palestine. So at the same time, we must recognise that grievances and governance challenges exist across all parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Civilian populations, regardless of which side of the line of control they live on, deserve protection, accountability, and dignity. At the heart of this issue is a fundamental principle that we cannot lose sight of: the right of self-determination. This right is grounded in international law and enshrined in the United States Nations Charter, impotent though that body may now be. Yet it is a right that has been consistently violated and denied in Kashmir. Supporting self-determination does not mean imposing a particular outcome externally. It means ensuring that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are able to freely and fairly decide their own political future. This brings us to the key question before us today. What role can the current Labour government play in this conflict/occupation? I believe there is a major opportunity here, not for rhetorical grandstanding, but for constructive, principled engagement to further a productive change to the status quo. First, the UK must consistently and meaningfully place human rights at the centre of its foreign policy. That means raising concerns both privately and publicly where civil liberties are restricted, where those violations occur, and irrespective of where we are trying to strengthen economic ties with the violators. Second, the government can use its diplomatic leverage to support dialogue. Not just state-to-state dialogue, but inclusive discussions that involve the Kashmiri representatives from across the region. Third, the UK should play a more active role in international forums, including the United Nations, in order to reaffirm the importance of existing resolutions and to encourage steps towards their implementation. Fourth, we must support practical measures that improve everyday life, such as strengthening humanitarian access and greater freedom of movement for divided families, as well as the pushing for the immediate release of political prisoners and detainees who have been held without charge for sometimes decades. And finally, Parliament must ensure that Kashmir does not fade from view. It must remain, as I have said before, a stone in the shoe of government, an issue that cannot be ignored until meaningful progress is made. In advocating for a just resolution to the Kashmiri problem, we must also act responsibly. The aim is not to deepen divisions, whether between nations or within our own Indian and Pakistani communities here in Britain, but to build bridges grounded in respect, dialogue and non-violence. As representatives of a diverse society, British parliamentarians have a duty to ensure that our language and our actions bring people together, even as we speak honestly about injustice. In conclusion, while the 80th anniversary of the Kashmir conflict is approaching next year, its longevity does not make it inevitable. With political will, principled leadership, and sustained pressure and engagement, there remains a path towards peace, one rooted in human rights, democratic participation, respect for democracy, and self-determination for the Kashmiri people. Thank you.
I would like to thank the British Parliament for providing us this important platform to speak about the unresolved Jammu and Kashmir dispute and the responsibilities of the international community, especially the British government. The conflict of Jammu and Kashmir is not merely a territorial dispute. It is a fundamentally a human rights issue and question of justice, dignity, and the democratic rights of millions of people. For decades, the people of Jammu and Kashmir have suffered because of war, doing, militarization, and political uncertainty. Armed conflict have always brought destruction, loss of innocent lives, displacements, poverty, unemployment, and instability for ordinary civilians. We strongly believe that we have never solved the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in the past, nor will it solve in the future. The only peaceful and democratic solution is to give the people of Jammu and Kashmir their right to self-determination in accordance with the United Nations resolutions. The Kashmir people must be recognized as a stakeholder of their land, their future, and their natural resources. The United Kashmir People's National Party, under the leadership of our Chairman, Siddharth Chaudhary Kashmiri, believes in peaceful, secular, and democratic political struggle